Hello everybody. You know, every once in a while I like to do something with paper. And I was looking on Pinterest to get an idea. I'm gonna see if I can do what they did. They had a black background. I don't have any black paper, so I'm using white. But I think the other colors I use are gonna show up pretty good. So, here we go.
It's clear to see from up here the world seems.
We are going to make a flower. Okay, I had to trim all of these big, you can see the bigger squares there. I had to cut them down into fourths, and we're making little trumpet shapes. And each one of those will be put into a circle to form the first layer. It's going to be a very three-dimensional flower. And I know you're going to love this. I had a lot of trouble with, I hope you get a laugh out of me, fussing with that paste. It really defied me. You'd think it would be easier, but regular Elmer's would take too long for this project, for me to get it done in that amount of time. So eventually I do get this thing going. And by the way, I have been not mentioning my books very much, but they are in the description below, and if you will look down there, you will find The Search. The Search is a mystery and suspense, and it's kind of a spiritual journey that takes you between experiencing a journey between deceit and truth. And it's really got some good reviews. The other two are both about a man who lived in the town where we now live back in the late 1800s to the 1950s, I believe. But it starts about 1905, and he's dark-skinned. The rest of his family is white. The first one, Who Be Charlie B., is about his determination to find out why he's so different from the others. And his grandfather does reveal that to him. That's in the second chapter, so I'm not really giving a lot away there. But the book is him trying to figure out his place in the world, especially now that his father and more or less his protector is gone. So the other one is a sequel to that, and it is Finding Charlie, a Forbidden Romance. And Charlie and his friend, they take off to other parts to so he can try and find a place for himself as far as where he wants to live, where he can live and get along. And they go find a job with a railroad. When they return, things just go a lot differently for Charlie than he thought his life would, and not all in bad ways. So I'm going to leave it to you to go down in the description and see where you can find those books. And you can purchase them through several places. I'm going to get back now to what we're doing. This flower is very three-dimensional, as you can see. And right now, these little trumpet shapes I'm making out of this paper, those are the base, those are what make the flower. And I thought it was so interesting, and it's something that a person can do with their children, as well as their grandchildren, whichever. Or you could either find it or Pinterest or, watch this with them and help them put it together. It was really frustrating, but also fun for me. The frustration was with that paste. It wanted to stick to my fingers as much as it wanted, because I had it all over my fingers. So it wanted to stick to my fingers as much as to the paper. And I do have to speed this film up, because there's no way I would get it in under half an hour at all if I tried to do it all at normal speed. So I hope you don't mind that this is sped up. We're going to get this first layer on here, the purple layer, and then we'll go to a different color. And you'll see this thing pile up into a really interesting 3 dimensions. And I really kind of like the way it comes out. There I am, stuck to my paper. And that's what I use to get unstuck, I've got some hand sanitizer in there, and I'm blurry all over the place with getting that off. But that's what I'm doing. I'm getting that paste off of my fingers so that I can move on and get the next piece done. What a fun trip this was. But it was worth it. It's so much fun. I just had to learn how to stick it down without sticking my fingers too. Finally, we're at the end of that first layer. And we're going to get this very last one placed in there so that, I think this is the last one. Nope. Yeah, that's the last one. So then I have torn up all of this little pink papers, and we're going to start the next layer. I hope speeding this up doesn't, it's so visually, I think, apparent what I'm doing, that I don't think it should mix you up at all. And you should be able to do this easy. I say that while I'm sitting there battling the paste in my fingers. Now, there was a trick my grandma Miller used to do. Whenever she had trouble, well, she didn't even have to be having trouble. She just doing her chores or doing dishes or whatever, she'd hum. And she just was always so peaceful and fun to be around. And she de-stressed herself that way, and it just kind of let our stress out too. So then later, when of course, she was my grandma I was growing up with, but my dad, he would go around the house, and he wouldn't be humming. He would be bellowing. I don't know if I'd call it bellowing. He would be singing loudly. And his favorites were Sweet Peace and just hymns like Sweet Peace and Peace by the River, things like that. But my mom, after a while, she'd get a little irritated because, for one thing, he was so loud when he sang. And for another thing, he would sing the same songs over and over again, and just parts of them. But he didn't realize that. He was just doing his thing. And why not? His mom did it, except she hummed. My dad loved hymns. And where we grew up, music was a big part of our family. My mom didn't hate music. She just got tired of Dad singing the same thing all the time and being so loud with it. But she loved and wanted us to be a musical family. And we were kind of. But there were 2 other families, the Hulas and the Clay Camps, who were both large families. The Mapes family was fairly large, but and then there were some other smaller families. But by the time you'd get 6 Hulas, 6 Clay Camps, and 6 Miller kids up there, which the younger ones generally weren't all at the same time, but we had a choir. And we would fill that choir loft. We would, sorry for my, I'd stop this and correct myself, except I'd be correcting myself every few seconds. But yeah, we would kind of fill that choir loft in the church. And it was fun though. And we were all kind of in the same 4-H club too. So we had sing-alongs when we did hay rides and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm that old. You can see that when you see me. So, but it was fun. We really enjoyed ourselves. Okay, here goes in the last pink trumpet. You can see how this flower is starting to build up. And this was what I found so fun and interesting about this flower, was the way it builds up and just becomes so three-dimensional and colorful. I think if I'd had black paper, I would have used it, but I don't think it looks bad at all against the white. It's still pretty brilliant. Out there, I'm shaking out of frustration. Please stay there. I don't want to touch you again. So now I'm going to use some blue paper, and I split it up just like I did the others. You use squares, and the squares I had were too big, so I stripped them down smaller. And so that's what you see me doing here. This paper leaned very well to just creasing and tearing, which was really nice, because sometimes with scissors, the edge, it just leaves an edge that isn't always so pretty, but this worked really well. So now we're going to get busy and start really putting this last layer of flowers on. And I didn't think I had all this in there, but that's okay. Now you'll see how I do the whole tearing of one layer. And it's as simple as that. It's just as simple as that. So now we go back to the paste, my fingers, and making little trumpets again. And here we go, fast motion. I made a comment on somebody's video earlier today about Lawrence Welk. And if because they had their little one, they were playing with bubbles. They had a bubble machine. And I said something about having a bandstand and calling themselves the champagne music makers. And there was another guy who commented on my comment, or replied to my comment, and gave the whole end of the show on Vito Zane au revoir, all that, that Lawrence Welk would give at the end. And he said it was his dad that loved watching that show. So, but I was surprised here it's been a year or two, but I came across the old Lawrence Welk show on, I think it was one of the PBS stations. Sometimes they'll do those older shows. And anyway, so there was an episode that I watched. They probably had it on once a week, but I just found once was enough for me to be kind of nostalgic and fun about it. That was enough. So I hope you're enjoying this little episode of Paper Fun again. every once in a while it is fun to just use paper. I don't know, some might think it's a little bit childish, but you just kind of think that some of this stuff isn't really so easy for kids, especially small children. So, and I've tried origami. That's what this paper actually is origami paper. And I'm no good at it. I am no good at origami. I think I did succeed at one thing one time. I think that was a swan or something. But it was pretty big. It wasn't the nice little swans that they make. So here in a minute we'll be done, and I'll show you the finished flower. I was really happy with it. I think it turned out so fun and so pretty, and I do hope to. I doubt if I will do much with it for very long, but I think I'm going to find a pipe cleaner and put a stem on it and a couple of leaves, make a couple of leaves to put on there, and maybe just push pin it onto my wall for, maybe a week, so that it's back there looking at us all there. Isn't that pretty? I thought it turned out pretty nice. The different layers of color just really set it off. I hope you've enjoyed this. I'm just going to let you listen to a little bit of music, and I'm going to be done. I would put a pipe cleaner and a couple of leaves is the way she did it. And it was so cute, but I just love this little flower. And isn't that fun? I would sit down and do that with my grandkids. They'd probably do a better job than I did. But I just think it's so cute and so pretty. So that's it for tonight. I hope you enjoyed that and found it something that maybe you might want to do, maybe on a smaller scale or a bigger scale. And I'm sure it could be done much better than that. But I don't think mine turned out too bad. So I might put this on a bulletin board, but I don't know. I kind of like my bulletin board the way it is. But I don't know, maybe I'll stick it up somewhere for a while. I got some push pins. After I get the pipe cleaner found and on and make some leaves. It probably won't last but a week, but that's okay. I will see you tomorrow. I love you. And be sure to smile and wave at somebody at a distance, but smile and wave and say, hello, how's your new year going? Or tell them, hey, I'm having a great new year. Sometimes even if you're not, just saying it makes you feel better and gives them hope. So, that was the end of my battery.
In the great outdoors.